meeting on, forgive me. We do have a quorum. We do have Patty and Valerie missing, but we still are establishing with us three a quorum. So welcome. This meeting is being webcast live and recorded. The recording of the webcast may capture images and sounds of those attending the meeting. At this time, I would like to remind everyone of the procedures for public participation in tonight's meeting. Members of the public are encouraged to attend and address the board on any agenda item or topic within the board's jurisdiction. Public comments will be allowed to a maximum of 5 minutes per speaker, with a total of 20 minutes allocated for each item. If necessary, the president may adjust these time limits to ensure everyone has an opportunity to speak. Non-English speakers will be given double time in order for a translator to be used. Speaker request forms are available at the entrance of the boardroom and may be handed to Ms. Gonzalez prior to the public comment. Regarding complaints, if a concern is raised about an employee, the complainant will be informed of the appropriate complaint process. The first step is for the complainant to submit the concern in writing to the district office, after which the district will begin the investigation process to address the issue fairly and promptly. Complaints involving child abuse or unlawful discrimination will be handled in accordance with specific legal protocols. Please note that any documents handed to the board during the meeting are subject to public records request in accordance with the California Public Records Act. The board prohibits retaliation against complainants. All complainants will be investigated promptly and impartially. Please be respectful of the meeting process. Disruptive behavior will not be tolerated and may result in removal from the meeting. Thank you for your cooperation. Could I please have everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready? Salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Approval of the regular board meeting. Do I have a motion to adopt board meeting agenda for today, March 11, 2026?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Roll call. Sammy?
Aye.
Sandra?
Aye.
And I. Presentations. At this time, I will now turn it over to Superintendent Messina and Danielle Evers to present the district 3-year alignment plan.
Yes, good evening, Board President Cisneros, members of the board, staff, and community. We're going to do a quick update on a 3-year alignment plan. And this is really to kind of give the board an opportunity to, kind of hear and see what we're doing here in the Corcoran Joint Unified School District versus what we're seeing across the state and in some parts of the nation. And so we had a great conversation, just to preface this, with both of our union presidents and us as a group, just to kind of, get some input and feedback. We're definitely moving towards more collaboration. So I want to thank them. I know Dulce is here tonight, so I want to thank her, on representing CSCA and really trying to work towards that. So, and then Roseanne was there as well, so So we're going to go through this. We're going to tag team it, Ms. Alvarez and myself, and it's going to be pretty fast. So let's go to the next slide. So first off, we want to let everyone know that the board priorities drive everything that we do. So the board created priorities actually even before 2 years ago, but then we revisited them 2 years ago to kind of realign them and reassess them, right, and revise them. And so this is a truncated version of those priorities. The first one is a safe, welcoming, inclusive environment. The second one is high expectations and grade level instruction. That as a board, you're wanting to make sure that our students are achieving at their highest caliber possible. And we see that time and time again. And then number 3, that there's continuous engagement from the boards of the classroom. And then, one of the things that always impressed me with all of you early on was the fact that you said, we want people to be engaged more than just at a ball game, that we want like deep engagement. So that's something that we've definitely been working on. So next slide. So this is the current state of California. I don't know if those of you guys have been watching the news around school districts, but we've heard a lot around schools cutting programs, laying off many, in some regards, hundreds of teachers, classified employees. Those are all headlines from the news. On the right, there's one that says, what can schools afford? Experts discuss teacher strikes and funding priorities. Up in the Sacramento area, I want to say that a majority of those districts have either been on the verge of a strike or are actually striking. And so that's happening also in a little bit in the Bay Area, but it's mainly around Sacramento. It's been pretty pervasive. And so we know that that's happening for several reasons that we're going to go over today, and also to kind of lay out what our plan is as a district as we move forward. So, the state, do you want to go over this slide real quick and then chime in?
Sure. So on the left-hand side, it just gives some highlights about current trends statewide. Presently, there are 8 districts that have certified themselves as a negative certification on their first interim report, and 45 that have certified themselves as a qualified status. The difference between those is a positive certification would say that a district feels that they can meet their financial obligations over the current year and the next 2 years. The qualified status would be a district certifying or stating that they feel they may not be able to meet their financial obligations. And then a negative certification would be their stating that they wouldn't be able to. We are seeing an increased number of districts certifying as qualified status as a trend presently. This is the 8th consecutive decline in enrollment statewide. And it's a projected statewide enrollment loss of around 500,000 students. That's the statewide trends, but if we look on the right-hand side, this is just another metric that we're looking at. The revenue for districts, the COLA that was provided to school districts is represented in the blue columns. But the green column is the actual increase in revenue from year to year for us at Corcoran Joint Unified School District. So while in next year, the COLA is projected to be 2.41%, the actual increase in revenue to us is representative of 1.55%. And then similar, not as much of a divide in the 27-28 year, but still shorter than the statewide COLA.
And one of the things that I do want to call out, and thank you, Ms. Alvarez, for the first 8, and it looks like 8/45, but it's 8 and 45, is one of the markers that this came from actually from Mike Fine for FICMAT. FICMAT is a group that will come in on behalf of the state to take over a district when it's fiscally insolvent. So they're the experts that the state relies on to get the district back on track financially. And one of the things that he says that they look at is actually this number, because back in 2008, when the crash happened, about almost 150 districts were identified as qualified. And so the thing is that we're at 45 already, and it was 150 was the number. So we're getting close, right, as a state system. And so that's something that is alerting them to kind of keep an eye. So that's something we definitely want to, be mindful of. And thankfully we're positive, right, as we'll hear from Ms. Alvarez tonight on the second interim. But that's definitely a marker to kind of think through. And then when the second interim hits, what all districts are doing right now, that number might increase. So we might actually be getting closer to the 150 mark, which is an indicator that we don't want to get close to. Next slide. So one of the things that we've been doing this as a team, we've been thinking through is that we need to have a plan for 26 through 29 for the next 3 years. As the state says that we need to keep an eye on our budgets for 3 years, a multi-year projection. We want to make sure that we do that. And we know that the board's been amazing in the sense of ensuring that this district is not only fiscally solvent, but fiscally sound, and not just living on the edge, but we're actually doing well. And that's because of your guys' leadership. So I want to thank you first and foremost for that. The second thing is that we remain fiscally solvent while aligning people and services to their current enrollment. So what we've done and what we've been kind of operating off of is our current staffing is operating off of roughly 3,500 students in our enrollment. But we're actually at about a little less than 3,200 or hovering around there, give or take. And so we're about 300 students more than we actually that we should have, that we have staff for, if that makes sense. So if we were to put into a different kind of state, if we were a family of 5 at one point and we had 5 bedrooms, but now we're only a family of 2, we're still operating as if we're a family of 5, right? And that's what's there. So we definitely want to have a positive certification, meaning we want to maintain that positive multi-year budget status. but we also need to make sure that we have workforce alignment at the school sites. So we're not seeing a classroom with like 10 students and then one with like 20, right? Because that would necessarily wouldn't make sense. And so we have to kind of balance that out at the site level. So that's that workforce alignment. The service alignment is matching the district support, both central and site support, so it's both, right? To match the needs. And this was also informed by the school services report. If you guys remember, about 2 years ago, school services came in and did an org audit, and kind of said that compared to select districts and our current enrollment, around 3,200 at the time, and said that we were dead last as far as the number of supports at the to the district, at the district side of things, not just in this building, but across the board. They looked at food services, they looked at IT, all those different areas. And they said if we were to add 7 people, we would still be like number 5 out of 6, right? So we would just barely bump up. So we have to, in saying all that, we have to have a balanced workforce overall, both support staff as well as being able to be in the classrooms, right? We have to have that balance, right? And so that's where we're kind of really looking at. And the bottom line is we want to keep recurrent costs aligned to recurring revenue and current enrollment. So we're not overspending when we have less students, and we need to keep track of that, right? So that's what this slide is. Okay, next slide. So the next steps, what do the next steps look like for 26-29? So we want to have immediate actions of budget framework that should be should guide our decisions. And so one of the things we're looking at is really looking at reducing through attrition first. So plan reductions primarily through attrition and vacancies, and not our goal is not to really do more than that if we don't need to, right? So what other districts are laying off, that's not really our goal. Our goal is to say if there's a vacancy, we're not going to backfill it because again, we're not operating off of 5 family members, operating off of less, right? So we want to make sure that we're doing that first. We do know that over time, that we're probably like 12 teacher positions over. And then if we looked at like a good classroom ratio, right? Class to teacher ratio. And so, but then again, we're not recommending or even saying that we want to have any type of layoff whatsoever. It's through attrition. We just wouldn't fill some of those classes, right? And balance them out. So then they're more equal. The other thing is that we want to maintain classroom stability. So we want to preserve the low class sizes and protect core student supports while reductions are phased in. So we don't want to do the thing like one district up north just yesterday did a blanket pink slip to the entire district office. And this is a district of 50,000 students or so. So that creates a lot of confusion, a lot of anxiety to the system. That's not what our goal is, right? We want to make sure that we are doing our due diligence to do it the right way, right? And so that's why we're even presenting this tonight. And I'm glad that folks are here in the room to hear it firsthand, because that's our goal, right? Is that. The third thing is we want to review site and central support staffing. Again, we want to use best practices and the school services report to align central support roles and services to the actual needs. So, for example, if we had a boom in kinder, right? That we know that we're gonna have to adjust, like we did with TK. And sometimes we're gonna have to adjust again, and that's a reduction, right? Because we had to kind of balance out that way. And we haven't been operating in that way, but in order for us to remain fiscally solvent, we're gonna have to do that, which is similar to what other districts do. Instead of having a knee-jerk reaction, we're seeing these mass layoffs, that's where we wanna be. And then the fourth thing is we want to build a strategic plan. And so we want to create a plan that guides the future resources and resource development and allocation around the board priorities. And so this strategic plan would actually encompass the board and the priorities and the board developing board goals. And those are high level goals. Like, for example, if you say as a board, like we want to make sure that kids have high academic achievement, well, what does that look like? So right now, overall, I believe we're in the low 30s for ELA, like let's say 34% of our students are on the grade level as a district. You might want to say that we need to grow at least a minimum of 4% each year for the next 5 years to get to 54%. So that would guide, those would be the big goals. And then under that, those goals would be would be actions that the staff would develop with our teachers who are here tonight, our classified team members, even our parents and our students. So they have voice in that as well. So it's really a strategic plan that is community driven and really giving us guidance. So people have a roadmap where we're going for the next 5 years. So it's not like you're kind of thinking through like, well, what's going to happen next year? Like you already know for the next 5 years, this is what we're doing, right? And it gives clarity. And then we know as teachers, like I know as teachers in the classroom, there's a term called the effect filter, right? For teachers that are here, when students aren't clear about what's happening in the classroom, they get very anxious. They're like, what's going on? I'm confused, right? Well, as adults, we're the same way. If we don't know exactly where we're going, the same thing kind of happens. So we want to make sure that we have that as well, that plan. Okay, so that's a strategic plan. The image on the right is basically just a budget decision framework around the stool, the 3 legs of the stool for how we do budget decisions. And we really look at revenue, expenditures, and the strategic plan helps guide that overall, focused on the 4 priorities, right? That's the C, right? So that's what we're really focused on and where we're going in the future. But we just want to make sure we're clear on that. Okay, next slide, and this is the last one. So the phase work plan, alignment plan really looks like this. So in phase 1, which is this coming year, we want to fill, we're going to only fill required positions, including SPED and other critical vacancies. So we have some SPED vacancies that we need to fill because we're obligated by law to make sure that those are there. But there might be some positions that we don't fill, both on the classified certificated side, because the numbers don't warrant those to be filled. So we wanted the staff to understand, because sometimes when someone leaves a position, someone else thinks like, oh, that's going to be open, so I can go into it. But we want to be clear and upfront, and that's what we explained to our 2 union presidents, was that we want to make sure that people are understanding why that might not happen. So there's clarity, right? So it's not like, oh, what are you hiding? We're not hiding anything. We're just being upfront, like that might not be filled because we don't have the numbers to fill it. Okay. But then again, we're trying to make sure that we, make sure that everyone has something, right? The second thing is develop some reassignments and transfers to balance out the class sizes and maximize resources. So we, are going to need to move some folks around. I'll give you one example. Just as being transparent. So at the high school, we have an ELD position, right? We flew it internally because that's a position that we need to fill with internal folks. We're not going to hire someone from the outside because it wouldn't make sense, right? Based on what you've seen today. So first, we're offering that position out to anybody in-house, but eventually we'll have to get to the point where we might have to have some discussions around someone actually just going in there, right? But we want to give those opportunities first, right? So we're trying to be as fair as possible, right? In honoring folks, to be able to do that first, right? So that's just kind of what it's going to look like. But again, it's doing this versus having the headlines that we saw earlier, right? We don't want to be there because that's not a good space. And then offer retirement financial planning. So I want to thank Ms. Moreno and her team, because they did a great job of bringing West Coast financial planning that came in a couple weeks ago, and they gave a financial planning class. I want to say like 14 or 15 people were a part of that. And they gave really good information and talked about what it would look like for someone to retire and how they could help. And they're providing their services. And so I want to say, like, out of the 14 people want follow-up. So a lot of times it's just not knowing, right? So we're busy. I mean, I'm already 26 years in. And so it's like, I haven't even met with STIRS to even do my own, right? And so we're busy. We're so having those services come to our team is helpful, that they can access that here versus trying to do some type of meeting later. Phase 2 is a kind of a continuance of phase 1. Just continue hiring only needed positions, looking at potentially reclassifying some coaching roles and aligning assignments to the highest needs areas. And so, again, trying to make sure that everybody has a spot, but there might be some need for some reclassifications, those type of things. So we're just planning for the future. And then continuing the attrition reset. So as people decide that they want to retire, that we're not gonna backfill, okay? That's kind of the goal. And then release any pips and stips if we don't have that, that need to have uncredentialed teachers. And then phase three, which, this would be in 28, 29, which we would have a better understanding of what's going on the year before, this is where, we wouldn't want to get to, but if phase 1 and 2 don't generate the sufficient reductions, the at least 12 teachers over time, then we would start to look at the STIPs, the PIPs, the probationary teachers, and that would be the reduction there. Okay, but we definitely shared this with our two units, our CFA and CSA. So I want to thank them for that collaboration. And really, again, it's about making sure that we do it in a not a knee-jerk way, but a way that people, number one, are clear about the plan, so they know. So a year from now, they can say, "Hey, I remember that meeting, and they remember when they put this forth. This is exactly what's going on," right? Versus, why is this happening, right? We don't want to get to that point because that's a scary place. So with that, the last slide is just really any questions for the board, questions you might have or feedback?
I just had a little bit of feedback. It's important to have a plan. Obviously, if things change and we have an increase in population of students, they will still continue to absorb the teachers. But it's also important, and I appreciate you doing this because it will give them an opportunity to figure out what their options are. So thank you for that. Now we go to the middle and high school reports. Do we have a new student presenting today? Hi, welcome.
Board members, district administrators, parents, and community members. Good evening, board members, district administrators, parents, and community members. My name is Jaden Valdez, and I'm this year's JMS ASB Vice President. Tonight, I would like to share some great things that are happening on campus. The end of the third quarter is quickly approaching, and the JMS students are preparing for the upcoming CAS test, as well as our second time taking the PSAT test. Mr. Gina and the JMS band continue to get ready for the Tulare Band Festival on March 23rd, and also the CMEA Concert Band Festival on April 10th. Mr. Hodgson continues to prepare the JMS Theater Group for the upcoming play of Beauty and the Beast, Bed and Breakfast. Look for more information as the play gets closer. The performances will take place on May 28th and 29th. To conclude the winter proportion of our sports seasons, the JMS boys varsity basketball team won the SAL title for the 7th time in 3 years. Great job, Wildcats. The spring sports season is now in full swing with baseball, softball, and track, all working hard. The track team will once again host the John Muir Invitational on March 25th with 26 schools and close to 1,000 students participating. We'll love to have you stop by the meet and see what a great event it is for the community. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share just some of the wonderful things going at our school. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hey, CHS, we have Jason, Jade, and Ashley. Welcome.
Hello, good evening, members of the board and administration. We're excited to share a few highlights from Corcoran High School. First, we want to recognize our CHS Symphonic Band, which recently participated in a Central Section Festival hosted by the California Music Educators Association, so CMEA. After months of hard work and preparation, the band earned a superior rating, which is the highest honor possible, and the program's first in many decades. We're incredibly proud of our band students for their dedication and for representing Corcoran High School so well.
Thank you. Our spring sports season is also just getting started, and there's a lot of excitement on campus as our athletes begin competition. We're looking forward to cheering on our Panther teams and celebrating their hard work throughout this season.
Our ASB leadership students are also working to bring more energy and engagement to campus during lunch on Fridays. They're organizing lunchtime activities while also playing music using our new Neptune music software, helping create a fun and positive environment for students to connect and enjoy time together.
Things are starting to feel very real for the senior class as graduating is quickly approaching. Seniors are currently working on scholarship applications and finalizing their financial aid paperwork. It's exciting and a little surreal to realize that in just 62 days, the class of 2026 will be walking across the stage at graduation.
Our CTE pathway students have been hard at work since last semester, preparing for and competing in the Region 2 competitions through Skills USA. Students competed against participants from several counties, including Kings, Fresno, Tulare, and Kern, and many more. Out of 25 contestants representing Corcoran High School, 16 students qualified, with many earning first, second, or third place medals in their events. These students will now advance to the state conference, where they will compete against the top competitors from all 6 regions in California. We wish them the best of luck and congratulate them on their hard work and accomplishments.
Our Ag leadership class did an amazing job hosting our first rally of the semester during National FFA Week. Throughout the week, students participated in themed dress-up days that celebrated agriculture, all leading up to a fun and energetic rally. This rally included several agriculture-themed games while still keeping the exciting school spirit and rally energy that students enjoyed. It was a great experience for our school, and we hope to continue incorporating similar celebrations for other weeks and holidays in the future. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your evening.
We'll go ahead and do the superintendent report.
Yes, good evening, board president Cisneros, members of the board, staff, community. Just real short, I just want to thank everybody, all the classified certificate staff have been walking classrooms, seeing a lot of good learning happening. Just engagement with the students. Today I was at John Muir, and Mr. Whitmore and I had a chance to meet with our English learners as they were doing a kind of a kickoff for the LPAC, which I know it's happening at every site. So thank you so much for that. We definitely are believing in our students, and why it's important is because, and we share this with them today, the middle schoolers, is because it gives them more access to electives, right, at the high school, so they're not taking ELD. So it's super important, right? Just not just the fact that they're showing that they've mastered English, but also they have greater access to more activities. So thank you again for all the work that you guys are doing there. And then again, just thank you to we had, and we'll do this in a more formal way, but we did post last week. We had our 3 education excellence winners, and so I just want to again, very fitting for art. We had Trefley Gina from the middle school, who starts that push for students to go into high school band and seeing those superiors. So I'm pretty sure we're gonna see that for some time, because they got so big last year at the spring festival, they were almost like, slipping off the stage. So there's so many of them that they could barely fit, right? So, and that's really a testament to them. So I want to thank them for that. We had Lisa Gibbs for our classified, we had Dr. Kathleen Cifuentes for our administrator of the year as well. So when you see them, thank them. Great job. Just, definitely doing some great work. And then last but not least, really, we've had some really good things happening in our winter sports. And so we have coaches that have really given their time and dedication to that, whether it's in middle school or high school. They just done a great job. So we had a lot of students, or a lot of teams that went to playoffs. And I know that spring is looking really good. Our girls softball team right now is 4-0. And yesterday I went to go visit John Muir softball and baseball. And the baseball team, it was like the first inning, I think, and they had been batting for like 30 minutes. So that just kind of shows the kind of dominance that they had. So it's pretty amazing. Our students really step up. So I want to thank them. So with that, I yield my time.
Good. Board of Trustees. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and report on a couple of things. First of all, was we toured the CHS, so thank you, Mr. Larkin, for allowing us to walk in there. The classroom was very receptive. They were, talking and giving me information as to what they're learning and stuff, so it's always nice to hear what's happening. We did have Reading Across America, where we, several of us and other, clubs in the community read in, I specifically read at Bret Harte and at Fremont, so thank you for the invite. It was a real pleasure to be in there with the classroom and the kids, and I appreciate that, the invites on those and any of the other events that are happening within the schools. We really appreciate, the invites so that we can attend and show our support and do what we can do as you guys are doing your job and we want to recognize that. So thank you for that, and that's all I have. Do we have Corporate Faculty Association? No. So we got no CFA. How about the California Employees Association?
I'm back from hiatus.
Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. I have a short report for you today. So good afternoon, board members and administration. Dulce Sandoval, CSEA chapter president. Spring has arrived, and with that comes spring sun and allergies. As you can tell by my voice, I suffer from those. I appreciate the extra hour of sunlight as spring sports are in full swing at both middle school and high school. We appreciate the collaboration by the district team and working with our chapter to reach the TA that you have reviewed today. It was many months of team meetings and negotiation sessions, but both sides worked together to reach a fair and fiscally sound TA for classified staff. A major highlight was increasing longevity amounts for our veteran employees, especially the ones who have committed 30+ years of their lives to this district and the students. That is an impressive commitment and deserves to be compensated. Another highlight was getting the meal reimbursement paid based on IRS per diem rates. Classified staff always had to submit receipts and were only reimbursed the actual amount of their meals. Our bus drivers and nurses were the ones that struggled constantly to get reimbursed for the simplest of meals and jumping through hoops for services they provided to our students away from the district on a regular basis via sports, field trips, and other extracurriculars that require coverage. Classified staff were the only ones that had to submit receipts, but now we are equal and treated just like all the other district staff. Just to touch on what Mr. Messina mentioned earlier regarding the 3-year alignment plan. I really do truly appreciate the district and the board for allowing the unions to come in and kind of be part of this process, because I feel that it's very important, not only for transparency purposes, but for the to ease the minds of our memberships that we are involved in this, and every step of the way we have some type of input and we're collaborating on all sides to make sure that we make, the best decisions with the best intentions as far as how that's going to affect our staffs, what essentially affects our communities, because the majority of classified do live in this community. Our students go to these schools. We've been here our whole life, so it would be a huge loss, if we had to get down the reduction of staff. So to be involved with that, we truly do greatly appreciate that, and hopefully we don't get to that point, but at least we know that collaborating together with the best interest of everybody in mind, we can come to what would be the best options in the worst of times. So thank you for that. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you.
Thank you. Public comment, and just a quick reminder, the speakers have 5 minutes to speak on anything on the board agenda. So we can go ahead and start. We do have a few here. First one is Crystal Aguilar.
Good evening. My name is Crystal Aguilar, and I've been the principal secretary at Mark Twain School. I've served in this position for nearly 11 years, and during that time, I've worked with 3 principals and 3 vice principals. I'm here today to read a letter in support of our vice principal, Mr. Ramirez. This letter represents the voices of our staff and includes signatures from staff members who support him. I also have several letters from staff members who wanted to express their support but were unable to attend tonight to read their letters themselves. So they've been included with this letter that I'm going to read. And the letter reads, "To whom it may concern, we are writing to formally convey our appreciation and support for Vice Principal Robert Ramirez. We are deeply concerned by the decision to remove Mr. Ramirez from his current position and wish to express our hope that Corcoran Unified School District will reconsider this decision. During his tenure at Mark Twain, Mr. Ramirez has gone above and beyond his designated responsibilities as vice principal. He willingly assumed additional duties and responsibilities during the prolonged absence of our previous principal. Among all of the administrative changes that we have had since Mr. Anderson's retirement, Mr. Ramirez has proven to be the most effective and supportive. He is truly a leader, and our district will be making a big decision to let him go. Mr. Ramirez has fostered a positive rapport with our students, as well with our credentialed and support staff. He has initiated improvements to our PBIS program while continuing to uphold student accountability for their behavior. He actively encourages our SOAR expectations and rewards students who meet those standards. Additionally, he has introduced more activities and has advocated for more supplies and rewards, which has ultimately contributed to more positive school atmosphere. Mr. Ramirez has been the rock that has held our team together for the past few years. Many of our students look forward to seeing him each day. When he is unavailable, his absence is felt not only by the students, but by staff as well. We implore the Corcoran Unified School District to reconsider their decision to remove Mr. Ramirez. His leadership and dedication have had a profound impact on our school community, and his absence would be a significant loss. We believe retaining him in his current position as vice principal is essential for maintaining the positive momentum and improvements that he has helped to initiate on our campus. We thank you for your consideration regarding Mr. Ramirez's role here at Mark Twain. Sincerely, Mark Twain staff.
Thank you. Next is Amanda Hernandez.
Good evening. My name is Amanda Hernandez. I am your duty at Mark Twain. We are here today in regards and support for Mr. Robert Ramirez, Vice Principal at Mark Twain Elementary School. This isn't just about him as a person, it's about the positive effect he's created. Mr. Ramirez has contributions that have made us stronger. His efforts have changed behavior, inspired growth, and countless kids that have learned how much they are valued. Mr. Ramirez goes above and beyond, and he also has built meaningful relationships with our school staff. While we understand there may be concerns, we believe letting him go would be a great loss to our teachers and, most importantly, some of our students. We urge you to consider the value he brings and give him the chance to continue making a difference at Mark Twain. We ask that you hear our voices and consider the positive accomplishments he has made. When Mr. Ramirez is not around, his presence is truly missed, and his departure would leave a great loss and void. Together we can work and to keep improving, to have a great fit, one who really truly cares about student success. Thank you.
Kaylee Stowinski. Did I mess that up? Sorry about that.
Okay, to whom it may concern, I am writing this letter in support of Mr. Ramirez as well. I've been teaching at Mark Twain since 2020. In that time, he has been the best administrator I've ever worked with at this school by far. Many of the others did not correct negative student behaviors and simply would send them straight back to class. He's been one of the only ones who's constantly been supportive and present. He has stepped up to take on way more responsibilities than he should have in the absence of our former principal, with minimal guidance and outside support. He is real and genuine, and he has supported me when I've had some of my roughest days in the classroom by covering my class and pushing me to take care of myself and my health. Ramirez has used money out of his own pocket to show appreciation for the staff on our campus, as well as provide food to some of the homes of our students in need. Ramirez has also done more for our PBIS program than I have ever seen another administrator do in my 9 years of teaching, by providing activities, games, and incentives for the students on our campus. He has also made efforts to incorporate more community outreach by seeking positive male role models to be a presence at our school, since so many children here do not have them in their personal lives. Mr. Ramirez truly cares about our students and our staff. Removing Mr. Ramirez from Mark Twain would be doing a disservice to our staff, students, and community as a whole. I urge you to please reconsider your decision, as I believe it would be a great mistake. Kaylee.
Thank you. Now, Anna Duenas.
My name is Ana Duenas. I've been at Mark Twain for about 9 years now. It is with great sadness that I learned that the district is planning to let Mr. Ramirez go. He's been one of the most caring assistant principals at Mark Twain that I've worked with so far. I respectfully implore the district to reconsider this decision. His departure would be a tremendous loss for our school. Since joining our staff, Mr. Ramirez has made meaningful improvements to our school community. He personally removed the teacher's lounge, purchasing coffee supplies and decorations to create a welcoming space. He organized the lost and found by providing racks and hangers so students' sweaters are no longer left in a pile. He also supported staff during a time without a principal, and he quietly cared for students in need, bringing food to the families and even buying a student pairs of socks and clothing out of his own pocket. Thank you for taking the time to review this request and for considering this positive impact that Mr. Ramirez has had on our students, staff, and school.
Ms. Gonzalez, are there any others? Okay, thank you. Thank you for everybody that spoke. Is there some more? Okay, welcome.
Good evening, board. Superintendent Gina, I had gotten us out for dinner. That's my public comment. So it's always good to be in Corcoran. I think last time I was up here was 18 years ago. We're asking for classrooms for the after-school program. I see some of the after-school program staff here. But I saw a few of you at AEC earlier this year. And during the AEC, CSBA launched a campaign, and that's why I'm here on closing the achievement gap. And with this campaign, we are calling on the state to have a focused approach on closing the achievement gap, or CTAC, as I'll refer to it. We believe the state needs a plan with the customer service approach where the state supports schools, districts according to their local needs rather than just dictating and enforcing. It is a shift from compliance to more of a customer service approach. We have co-authored 4 bills that will go in session in Sacramento starting this week. And in these bills, we ask for annual benchmarks and transparent reporting requiring the state to assess its own efforts. We have also asked for a separate dashboard to provide a clear and concise method to inform the public of the state's progress in implementing the state plan and closing the achievement gap. We're also asking for a CTAC commission that would be under the State Board of Education, and the commission would help develop and recommend a publicly available system of monitoring the performance of the new and existing state programs. So we understand that the state has scattered resources for targeting the achievement gaps, but we want to have a clear focus plan We also know that the recent test scores show some improvements, but millions of students are still testing below a level's grade level. And so what we need is a state to have a meaningful plan to address this. So CSBA is asking districts to pass a resolution in support of our efforts of closing the achievement gap. And we understand it's not a moment, it's a movement. It's going to take years, and it's going to take all of us to work on this. And so I have forwarded a resolution to the superintendent, and I hope that the district can support us by passing the resolution in a future meeting. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And again, I would like to thank everybody that spoke tonight, and then we will have our superintendent review. Thank you so much again. Okay, we'll continue on with the action items, consent agenda. We did have on the consent agenda that we're going to have our attorney, Ms. Megan Macy, be here for the evaluation tool. However, we will be tabling for another meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Make a motion.
Roll call, Sammy.
Aye.
Sandra.
Aye.
Handa. Regular board meeting minutes for February 25th. I normally didn't have them listed for me to read. It's that changed. Okay, very good. So we'll move on to personnel. Consider the approval 2026-2027 calendar. Do I have a motion?
I'll second.
Roll call, Sammy. Sandra.
Aye.
And I. Consider the approval 2026-2027 declaration of need. Do I have a motion to approve? I'll motion. Okay. Roll call, Sammy, Sandra,
Aye.
and I. Consider the approval 2025-26 classified, certified, and confidential management tentative agreements, disclosure of collective bargaining agreements, and salary schedules. Do I have a motion? I motion. Roll call, Sammy, Sandra,
Aye.
and I. In business, consider the approval 25-26 second interim report. Ms. Alvarez has a presentation for us.
Yes. So we kind of touched on a portion of it already, but we'll go dive a little bit deeper into it right now. So this is our second interim report. And next slide. Where we are at in the cycle, I presented this annual cycle at the last interim report, and we were over on the right-hand side at first interim. Now we're moving along into our second interim report at the bottom and leading into our budget adoption process for the upcoming year, and then we'll circle all the way back again through this. Next slide. Some overall highlights is that the district does have sufficient reserves. We're required to have 3% based on our average daily attendance, which we do. That level for us is 2.04 million. And the other main highlight is that we are self-certifying a positive certification, which we kind of talked about previously, that it's either the positive, qualified, or negative, but we are able to maintain that positive certification. And looking at our enrollment, which again, we kind of touched on already, is that we have seen a declining enrollment trend over the past few years. The 25-26 school year, we already have that enrollment figure that's determined based on the number of students enrolled on the first Wednesday in October. The upcoming years are just estimates using the trend data from the previous years. And this slide gets a little bit busy, but it's real fun. We have, it's just an analysis or comparison between our enrollment, which is the number of students that we have enrolled in our district. That is the lighter or medium shade of blue on the left-hand side for the current year, 33,156. That compared to our average daily attendance, or the average number of students attending school, which we have projected at 2,922. So a bit of a gap there. And then our darker blue column is showing us the level that we're funded at. So we are funded at either the greater of our current gray column, our prior year gray column, or an average of the three. And for us, that is the average presently. And an overview of our general fund revenue. We have $67.3 million projected for revenue. 75% of that is coming from our LCFF calculator, and the rest, or not calculator, the formula itself. And then 15% from state grants, 5% from federal grants, and then another 5% from other sources like interest or some other small revenue. That compares to our general fund expenditures of 67.9 million as of present projections. 69% of that is salary and benefits. We do generally want to see that being higher, but some impacts or unique circumstances for our district is that we do have a significant amount of one-time expenditures in our total expenditures, which changes that percentage overall. That is a common theme across the state. But additionally, included in our expenditures is an agreement with a third-party group to do our expanded learning opportunity program. So that moves out of salaries into our operating expenditures and shifts that percentage as well. This just taking an overview look of an expression of our expenditures, and this just gives an idea of the district priorities. So 77% of our expenditures are focused on instructional and people services, 12% on maintenance and operations, 7% on administration, and 4% other outgo, which is our COP payment and SELPA payment for our county level. And looking at those two together, 67 million in revenue, slightly less on our expenditures, or a little bit more, excuse me, leaves us with a deficit or decreasing of our fund balance by roughly $500,000. But if we dive into that a little deeper and look at the two different sides of the budget, both our unrestricted and our restricted, the unrestricted are funds that we have more discretion over how we spend those dollars. The restricted side are grants or revenue sources that have strict specifications on how we spend that money. Oftentimes, we receive the money in one year and have requirements on occasion to spend it in that year, but other times we are able to spend it over the next few years. So maybe one more year, 2 more years. When that happens, we see the revenue maybe in our current year, it increases our fund balance, and then we're spending it down that next year or spending into our savings, though it is for an intended purpose that we're required to spend it for. Looking at our multi-year projection, just the current year and the next 2 out years, we do have, we are able to certify that positive certification because we are able to satisfy all of our obligations, and we will have a projected positive ending fund balance. The factors that go into this multi-year are looking at our LCFF funding from year to year, what it is for us specifically at corporate, not just adding that overall COLA, any step and column changes that are projected, any retirement benefit changes that are dictated to us. We don't get to set those rates, the state sets those. And any reductions from one-time grants, both for revenue and expenditures. And this is where we have that similar slide where part of the multi-year projection is, yes, we have a COLA from the state in our blue column of 2.3 for our current year, 2.4 in the next, and 3.06. But actual revenue for Corcoran Joint Unified is an increase in revenue of 1.22, 1.5, or 2.45. So, I mean, it's part of the conversation, it's part of the planning to make sure that we're still fiscally solvent and taking into account all the other operational increases, whether it be electricity or gas like we see at our own homes, or with step and column changes with the salary schedule movement for staff. In addition to the COLA, if we look into that change in fund balance over the next 3 years on that multi-year, again, in the blue, if we add the blue and the gray together, it comes to that peachy or orange color. The unrestricted side where we don't have specific requirements on how we spend the dollars, we're seeing positive increases to our fund balance. Whereas on the restricted side, where we have those requirements and are required to spend down the funds, we are doing that. Planning and spending. And overall, this is just a summary of the fund balance between all funds, general fund, adult ed, preschool, cafeteria, maintenance, and special projects. But we do have a positive fund balance projected for all of our funds. And we are spending down in certain areas as needs arise, whether it be like larger facilities projects or just planned facilities projects that come up. Any questions?
Okay, any questions? Do you have a motion to approve? A motion, that's second. Roll call, Sammy, Sandra,
Aye.
and I. Consider the approval resolution number 1415, budget revisions. Do I have a motion? Roll call, Sammy.
Aye.
Sandra.
Aye.
And I. Resolution number 1417, approving and authorizing contract for purchase of Chromebooks. Do I have a motion to approve? A motion?
I'll second.
Roll call, Sammy. Sandra.
Aye.
And I. Future agenda items. The following topics have been identified for closed session. Oh, I'm sorry. Do we have any for future agenda items? Okay, the following topics have been identified for closed session: conference with labor negotiations, public employee discipline, dismissal, release. Do we have any public comments on closed session items? None? Okay, hearing none. Now at 6:26, we'll go ahead and adjourn to closed session. Thank you.